So a theme in all of these videos now is we have to get a Morgan face update. She got a postseason peel,
Correct.
a chemical peel. It looks like she's having an allergic reaction now. That's the update? Are you okay?
Day
It's
5.
red, it's blotchy.
I sent it back to my lady. I was like, hey, is this normal? And she's like, ooh, your skin might be a little bit more sensitive than others. It's probably having a little reaction. Hence all the red around the entire lower half of my face. But it's going to feel like a baby's bottom, hopefully, after the red goes away. Fingers crossed. Oh, my God.
Nothing normal about your face, and there was nothing normal about Anthony Edwards in game 1. T-Wolves,
Great
Nuggets
transition.
in Denver. Minnesota takes game 1, 106-99. We just caught up on the game. I'm blown away by this guy. It's getting to a level of disgusting with his play. We know what he does offensively, but what he's doing defensively now, and they're not hiding him. He's taking on Jamal Murray. He's taking on the best matchups out there. What stood out to you about Anthony Edwards just in this game?
And you say taking on, it's like it never even feels like this huge challenge for him. Like it just looks like he belongs on some of the best players in the game on the defensive end of the floor. I mean, how many times did Reggie Miller ask Jamal Crawford on the broadcast, all right, Jamal, is this the best two-way player in the game right now at 22 years old? And sure, you can be a little prisoner of the moment with this, but holy shit, he's the one in the postseason, in the playoffs, that is actually doing this and doing it at such a high level on both ends. I mean, when you're finishing on the offensive end with a 43-point game, but again, it's him setting the tone from the start in that first quarter, just with the way he was scoring, his ability to get to the basket, and just putting a lot of points on the board for his team.
Did it efficiently to 17 of 29, 6 of 6 at the free throw line, playing some great defense. And when they were throwing blitzes at him in the fourth quarter, making the right plays. I'm just blown away by his jump this year. And now you're seeing it in big games. And I don't think there's been a team in the playoffs who's played better than Minnesota from what they did to Phoenix. And now I'm sorry, going and winning a game 1 in Denver, that's not easy against the defending champions, and they look like they belong. Anthony Edwards looks like he belongs. He doesn't get rattled.
Nope.
He plays defense. He leads, stays composed, can hit big shots, impossible shots, turnaround jumpers. That one he had in the corner with Reggie Jackson defending him, putting it on the floor and somehow finishing and got the technical for taunting. What a joke that was.
Well, thank you for mentioning that because it shouldn't have been a technical. And obviously the NBA ended up rescinding it anyway the next day. So, it was a ridiculous shot, and even better, loving the way that he put emotions behind it. But how about this sequence right here? When I forget how it happened, he scrambled, had to come over on Michael Porter Jr., who was going up for an easy layup, I guess you could call it, and he kind of went up soft. Ant blocks the shit out of it. They push it the other way for Cat and one dunk.
I remember that play. It was a couple staggered screens that he had to fight through. So he ended up Ant actually got switched on to Jokic, but Porter was driving. He peels off Jokic and goes up, blocks the shit out of him. Cat goes the other way with a monster and one dunk. So yeah, he made plays on both ends, and it's like the rest of the league should be scared of this guy when you're seeing him at 22 years old doing these things. And, you know, the MJ stuff keeps getting brought up, and at first it was like this funny joke, like, hey, they kind of look alike. Hey, you kind of see their game a little bit. Now people are going, hey, he's actually really good, and he's still really young, and he's doing it on both ends. So if you're Minnesota, you have to be really fired up about what he did in game 1, what the team did in game 1.
Yeah.
You were just talking about being prisoner of the moment, and we just finished this game. My first probably overreaction, and I'm sure Denver fans will come at me in the comments. I'm just like, I think Minnesota just has more bodies. They've got the length. They've got the size. They have defensive versatility. I think they've got more than this Denver team, and I'm not acting like this is going to be a sweep. I still think it's going to be a great series, but I watched that game 1 going, I just think they're the better team. Is that crazy?
It's not crazy to say. I do believe it's a little bit prisoner of the moment because, game 2, Jokic, Murray, all of them come out with a special game. Michael Porter Jr. is hitting every single shot. Aaron Gordon, whoever, and they're having a special game. You're flip-flopping because we've seen that special type of play from them. And how many times this entire season have you mentioned, man, I just don't know if Denver has the depth though, right? And we say that because as soon as you see Minnesota go small, which is taking out Gobert and taking out Cat, it doesn't mean that they're small. It just means that they're more like the average size team in the NBA, right? And so their ability to be able to just have so much diversity with their roster can really screw with teams, and especially in a postseason especially when you are Denver and you don't get to just go down the bench. You have to play Jokic 40 plus minutes every single game. And if it gets to a game 7, you're going, holy shit, can he hang?
Yeah, and they have a lot of different guys that could throw at Jokic. And they had Cat on him most of the game. I thought Cat did a pretty good job. Look, Jokic is still going to get his. He's the league's best player. Mm-hmm. But I thought the size of Minnesota impacted this game in a big-time way, which isn't totally a surprise. I think the thing that concerns me with Denver right now is just Jamal Murray's health. The calf issue that he's been dealing with, he's, post-game, not trying to make excuses about it. It's clear he doesn't seem like he's totally right out there. Yeah. And KCP's been a little banged up.
Yeah.
Well, like you just said, they don't have the scoring off the bench to make up if those guys can't bring it like they need. Even Michael Porter in this game, he had 20 points. It just felt like he had to work really hard at times to get those 20 points because Minnesota has so many guys who could defend. Nickeil Alexander-Walker can defend out there. We've talked so much about Jaden McDaniels, who plays 39 minutes in this game, goes 0 for 7. He doesn't score, but his impact was felt in a major way. Yeah. Whether it was like, hey, we'll switch it up. And go ahead. You're not going to defend Jamal Murray right now. We're going to put Jaden McDaniels on him. Yeah. Give him a different look. His impact was felt. That's why you're out there playing 39 minutes when you're 0 for 7.
Yeah, and you look at this team in the roster defensively, like you're kind of saying, going up against this Denver team in this matchup, you have so many guys that have taken leaps in their defensive ability or in their defensive mentality, right? Yep. Rudy Gobert, for example, the way that he was coming out at guys, moving along the perimeter. I think there's maybe twice he ended up bailing someone out, just had a bad, couldn't control his big ass body while trailing them to the rim or whatever it was. But for the most part, he is moving laterally, staying with guys. And then Cat, his defensive effort as well. I just thought it was tremendous the way that he has been able to keep his head in the game a lot more.
Yep.
And that, when you have someone like Ant that is holding you accountable like a leader and being like, in a post-game presser, yo, we need this guy. When we have this guy out there and when he's not fouling and shit, we're the team.
That was he was like, no, you stop fouling. Stop fouling. Defend without fouling. It was great.
Accountable.
And although Cat did get in foul trouble in this game, I thought he played a great game, especially with how he came out in the third quarter, really aggressive offensively, had some beautiful finishes at the rim, putting the ball on the floor. He's playing controlled basketball right now. And he's, this is not an easy ask when it's like, hey, Cat, we need you to keep up the scoring.
Yeah.
But also, you got to go defend Jokic.
Yeah.
You're asking a lot. And same on the other side, Jokic, you got to deal with, Cat times, or whoever you have to deal with. You're asking a lot from these guys, and Cat showed up.
And one more thing to add to Cat, you talked about him putting the ball on the floor. I said to you while watching this game, I was like, he looks more confident than ever with his handles. It was the way that he was grabbing a rebound and just pushing up the floor instead of with the pass. He was the one that was like, okay, I'm going to dribble between 3 guys. And it never felt like, oh, please pass it up. He has confidence there. He's probably worked on that. And then his ability also to rip through, put the ball on the floor, go to the basket, make the right play. Jamal Murray was mentioning this one time when he was going down the left lane.
Crawford.
And then Jamal Crawford on the broadcast was talking about Cat going down the left lane, and he got this and one situation, and what he ended up doing was making his body skinny, is what Jamal Crawford kept saying on the broadcast, making him skinny. Oh, he's in a phone booth. And I just thought he did such a great job controlling his body off the dribble, and he's doing things where I don't know if he's just been putting in this work in the offseason, if teammates are making him better, whatever it is. You're right. They look like the scarier team right now.
A couple of good things for Minnesota, too. Naz Reed in the playoffs have not been playing well. In fact, I would say the first 2.5 quarters of this one, it looked a little shaky for him. And you're like, can he get going? Well, he finishes with 16 points off the bench. 14 of those points came in the fourth quarter.
Huge.
You know, just watching him, it felt like at times his confidence has been shaken a little bit during this playoff run. He had a great year, won Sixth Man of the Year. And you could tell when he started to feel good in this game is like, got some good looks, knocked it down, and he is playing with force.
Banking threes, making threes, dunking the ball.
Forcing that travel on Jokic on the inbound. He was all fired up.
Yep.
I mean, I thought he had a massive moment in that fourth quarter. And Mike Conley, the vet, with some big shots. He had a double-double in this game, 14 and 10.
It's what you can expect to see from, obviously, Conley, his veteran leadership out there, him just ready for big moments. But giving more love to Naz Reed, you're exactly right. I thought throughout this game, I'm like, what are we really going to see? I saw so many people on social media talking about, what a game for this guy. And so then when we go back and watch it, I'm going, where's this game? The game was in the fourth, and it was when they needed it most.
Yeah.
And that is what made it so special. So you want to talk about big moments and being ready for that. The Sixth Man of the Year was ready for that in that fourth quarter, just coming up big.
In the start of the fourth quarter, Jokic is on the bench. So Denver, with their smaller lineup, I felt Naz Reed was like, oh, I'm going to take advantage of that. And then when Jokic, he had to deal with Jokic a couple times defensively. And again, that's a tough matchup. But I thought as his confidence built in that fourth quarter, when he got it going, that second go-around in the fourth quarter against Jokic, he played some nice defense as well as you can against a guy like Jokic.
And great coaching job by Chris Finch.
Dude, how was Chris Finch just sitting there in that one spot, Micah Nori, his longtime assistant, coaching the game.
Yeah.
So it's just an interesting dynamic. Anthony Edwards said after the game, it was kind of the same thing, which is cool. I think they're just locked in as a group right now. Morgan, Jokic tonight, or in that game, 32 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, 3 steals. He was 11 of 25, 2 of 9 from 3. And when I saw that 2 of 9 from 3, I'm like, that just feels like a lot of threes for Jokic in a game. I look back, most threes he has taken in the game since March 2023.
Okay.
So that was last year.
Okay.
And that was last year he took 9 in the game. That was by far his season high.
Okay.
So it was just interesting to see. And I think you want him taking those shots as well. Denver just needs guys to knock down some shots to open things up. It's just, again, this is where I get concerned with for Denver is Minnesota has guys that are so long that take up so much of the court with their wingspan. They rotate well. They're versatile, that the paint gets a little more clogged up than usual. There's not as much space to work with.
Minnesota's ability to navigate screens too. And that's what you're exactly right. Everything becomes difficult. I mean, we're looking at this game and some of these plays that are being made, even if they were just questionable decisions, like why would you lob that? Why would you do this? And you had mentioned, I think it's just the pure disruption of this Wolves defense. And it doesn't matter, like you said, if it's near the rim, if it's on the perimeter, if it's trying to screen somebody, they are so active. They're there. There was a play where Jokic was going down middle. I think Naz Reed had left him, and Gobert wasn't committing to drop coverage, but also wasn't committing to Jokic. And Jokic was like, well, I'm going to lob this up to Aaron Gordon. Rudy Gobert read it. He knocked it out of bounds.
That's a big play.
Yes, and I just felt like Jokic, even in that moment, why are you attempting 9 threes when that was a nice little floater for you? We've seen you make that multiple times. He made that in this game, even so. So, yeah, just some of those decisions, I'm curious if that was a little bit fatigue for the Denver Nuggets as well. But either way, the defense disrupted his game.
What did you guys think of game number 1 between the T-Wolves and the Nuggets? What kind of adjustments do you want to see in game 2? Game 2 coming up on Monday night. I can't wait to see what's in store. But Denver being down 1-0 at home?
Here we go.
That was a big win for Minnesota. Make sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The